Hello. Hi, beautiful soul lights. Today I wanted to stop in really quickly and talk briefly about all the different words that I tend to use for God in my videos, because for some people it might be a little bit confusing. For others, you might be really familiar with all these different terms. The first thing I want to say is that if you're most comfortable with the word God, then that is great and that is beautiful, and you should continue using that. Because that's a word that a lot of people grew up with. It's what their foundation of their own spirituality was probably based on, and probably generations of their family have used that word. And if that word works for you, then good for you. That's great. But for many of us, we feel that word is a little bit confining. And so I think about myself, and it makes me think about cooking for some reason. So when I cook, I am somebody who doesn't use a recipe. I might get ideas from different recipes, like things friends have cooked, or I might pop around online and look for different recipes, and it'll inspire me. But ultimately, when I'm cooking, I use intuition. I use smell. I smell different spices. I smell what I made. I might taste things along the way. And I just like get a feel for it, and it just it creates itself as I go. The problem with that is I can never recreate exactly what I made before, but it just feels good to me to cook that way. I'm not somebody who does well with recipes and rules, which is why I'm not a baker, because when you try to bake without following certain kinds of rules, it doesn't turn out very well. So I feel that way about God. For me, following somebody's recipe, meaning like a certain religion and religious rules, does not help me feel closer to that which is greater than myself, does not help me feel closer to universal love and that amazing life force that animates all of us and moves us through our life. And so I just do better when I think of spirit, which feels like a bigger, broader term than me, or than God, than obviously than me. When I think of the word spirit, love, those things just feel broader to me, and they feel less confining. And so I tend to use these words that are a little more metaphysical or a little more ethereal and have less definition. I like to be able to find God in a church or outside, in the woods, or in a cavern, or, wherever, in a person that I'm talking to, in a flower. I like to have limitless ways to find God. Now, other people might like to find God in a specific place, and there's nothing wrong with saying that you feel closest to God in a church. And it makes sense, because your body, mind, and heart are trained to get into that space of communing with God when you're in a church. And so I just want you to know that whatever your belief is, it is welcome here, as long as you're not judging somebody else's belief, or trying to convince somebody else that they need to have your belief, because you're not going to convince me that I have to use your recipe. And that's not an insult, and that's not a challenge in any way. It's just that's not how I cook. And so, I hope that clears it up a little bit. So when I say spirit, when I talk about even the spiritual midwives, which I'll do another video to explain that a little more, they're the group of spirits that I work with, and I channel beautiful messages from them. When I talk about them, it doesn't even matter to me what people call them. It is just that beautiful divine source of love. And so, feel free to write any questions down below or share your thoughts on this. And I hope that clears it up a little bit for us. But the biggest thing for me to remember is that God doesn't have an ego. And so God doesn't care what we call him or her or it or they. God just wants us to know we are loved, and to live from that space of love, and to give that love to others and ourselves. All right. Have a good day. Bye.